From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of InFocus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry. We're here in the 22 News Plus studios. It is becoming more and more apparent, I hope for all of you, about the quantity of artificial information that's being presented to us. We call it artificial intelligence. Intelligence is a strong word, but anyway, there's too much information on social media and even a lot of stuff that makes it to mainstream media that just isn't true. So I've been very lucky to ask our good friend Torrey Trust. She is a professor of learning technology at UMass Amherst. She is a specialist in artificial intelligence. Torrey, thank you for joining me again. I don't think we can have this conversation often enough to talk about what really is the information we're receiving. What is the accuracy of the information that we're receiving? But it's everywhere. I mean, it's from our regular news, our social media feeds. We're getting information about conflicts overseas, about celebrities, about the White House. You pick it. It could be something local that is just generated by a computer. So I've asked you here to really with one simple question. How can we detect if something is AI generated versus true to the eyes, or, video, music, print, whatever it might be?
I mean, I guess my simple answer would be we can't.
Right. Well, okay, folks, now for the next 28 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Really?
Yeah, I mean, there was actually a big report that just came out from Microsoft last week that says there's no really true way to detect AI-generated content media.
So I guess, what are we to do?
Well, we have to become individual detectives. Every single one of us has to look at something and stop and think, did a human create this? Did AI generate this? And that's so hard to do nowadays because, as you mentioned, media is coming at you from all directions. You have the news, you have social media, it's on your phones, you're just coming across it often. So having to stop and think that often can be exhausting.
When I take a step back, and you are far more knowledgeable in this world than I am, when I take a step back and I look at the human population, I think of us as being far more intelligent now than we were as a species, as a population 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago. But it's frightening that even though we're smarter, there's more responsibility being pushed on us to verify the information coming to us. Maybe I'm just longing for Walter Cronkite days, and Tom Brokaw and those guys who they told us the truth, and they told us what was accurate. But I guess we're just bombarded with all this stuff, and we just have to now spend more time researching.
Yeah. And, while artificial intelligence is new, the concept of image manipulation has historical roots. I mean, we go way back through various history examples of, Napoleon having a painting created of him and having someone taken out the painting, or various other examples, all the way to Photoshop. When that came out, people could easily, take things out or put things in photos to change things. The thing is, artificial intelligence now, with just a few words, you can do it much faster, much easier, and it makes it look more realistic. And so, yeah, it's harder now than it has been in the past.
And AI is getting better and better, faster and faster to create this stuff.
Yeah, the image generation capabilities of these tools has definitely been one of the more advanced features I've seen, like Google's Nano Banana. I'm not sure about the name there. Image generation has come really, really far with what it can create.
And the more we as a population use artificial intelligence, the smarter it gets, right? And the faster it can work to create more realistic information.
Well, here's the thing, and I think I talked about this last time. The rate of hallucinations, there was a study that found that hallucinations, which is artificial intelligence tools making up information, went up from the first models to the newer models. And that's basically, people are speculating it's because AI is now being trained on AI. AI generated media, AI generated text.
Right.
So, is there a limit of how advanced these tools will really get in terms of what they're able to do? Is still to be determined. But yeah, the more that we use these tools, all of anytime we're writing a prompt, we're uploading a photo and say, hey, create an AI version of this. All of that is data then sent back to the company for them to use to train future models or use however they see fit. So yeah, we're kind of giving them more to work with than we really should.
So when I sit and I think about what's out there, there's really, I think, two or three real forms of text. Like there's text that, and I've used ChatGPT, Google Gemini to create questions for the interviews or whatever it might be. So there's text. So how do you know if text is brain or computer created?
It's really challenging, I have to say. I just came across a blog, I think it was Sam Illingsworth, and he had created a kind of guessing game. It was 100 quotes from famous individuals and then 100 AI generated quotes. And I was thinking I could do pretty decently because I intend to be able to tell students when they're using AI for their writing. And I got a 4 out of 10.
Wow.
That one. And I was trying to take apart the words. I was trying to look at, patterns across the words, and it just tricked me on several occasions. And there were things that I think I just was looking for AI that ended up being human. So sometimes we just reverse engineer it the wrong way, I guess. When it comes to like my students writing, it's more obvious because I'll ask them to write a reflection, for example, and they'll just submit something that doesn't actually talk about what we covered in class. So some obvious indicators, or they'll be talking about things just so broadly, it doesn't feel like a human is reflecting, right?
Okay.
It's hard to describe that, but it's just like, there's no human voice in this because it's like, you would expect, I guess, personal stories or examples or connections to their future. And it just, a lot of that's missing. And it's kind of like here's what was done in class kind of overview.
Wow. We are up on our first commercial break. We've got plenty more to talk about when it comes to detecting AI. So stay with us. We're back in just a moment.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. Torrey Trust, a professor from UMass of learning technology, basically artificial intelligence, has been kind enough to join me today because I want to talk about how to detect AI. So thank you for coming in. I think, we talked a little bit in the first part about major news outlets and that kind of thing. But I think the primary, and correct me if I'm wrong, primary distributor of fake information is social media. Am I wrong to believe that?
No.
No. You want to think about that for a second?
Anyone can post anything on
Right.
social media. They could also do that on the internet, but social media things can be shared and spread much faster.
So I guess how do I know if I see something on any of the social media feeds, if it's true or not?
Well, this really comes back to the kind of being a detective, looking
Okay.
really closely. There are, when you go to upload an AI generated media to Facebook and Instagram and some of the social media tools, I think even TikTok now, you can indicate if it's AI generated. Whether people self-report that, it's not really looked upon if they do or don't. But it'll put a little, this was AI generated at the very bottom of an image or very bottom of a post. It's not
Okay.
super obvious.
But if I'm creating something for social media through AI, it's up to me to indicate to whoever may see that, hey, I did this through artificial intelligence. So I guess like self-reporting?
It's self-reporting, but then many of these tools are starting to come out with their own detection tools. So like I think Facebook and YouTube will try to determine if what you've posted is AI generated and also put that this is AI generated kind of indicator somewhere on the video or on the bottom of the post or image. There's also things like really, really obvious tells is when someone leaves the watermark in an image or video, like Sora 2. Sora is usually written somewhere kind of transparent, maybe in the top 2/3 of the video. And then Gemini in the bottom right, you'll see the little Gemini logo, but they're kind of transparent. They're not super obvious. And if you don't look really closely, you can actually miss those.
But even still, people who see those things tend to believe the content that they're looking at or reading, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's confirmation bias, there's emotional reasoning. We believe things that are true, that we believe are true. And so you've got all these different cognitive biases that are shaping your thinking at the same time that all of this misinformation and disinformation and fake images and deep fakes are coming at you. It's a lot for you to have to handle and think about. So my recommendation is using the SIFT model it's a model for information literacy.
Okay.
The first part is STOP. S stands for stop. Because most often what happens is you see an AI generated media and you react immediately. You share, you comment
Right.
before investigating, which leads to the next part of the SIFT model. I is for investigate. Investigate the source, who wrote the post, who uploaded the media. Do they have credibility? Have they uploaded similar things? For example, I got duped by a Rose Parade video on YouTube that I was like, I love the Rose Parade. Every year. I missed it this year. I'm going to go watch it. And then I was like, it took me a while, but I figured out it was AI generated. It was a full AI generated version of the Rose Parade. And then I started looking at the comments.
You watched almost a full parade?
Well, no, I mean, it was about 30 seconds, but it was kind of a recap. So it was looking like it was going through all the different floats and so I was like, wow, these floats are really incredible this year, and the quality of the filming. And then, all of a sudden I saw all the people looking the wrong direction of the floats. Was an obvious tell. I should have gone with that, and then clapping at the wrong time, and things started to pick up. And I saw in one of the comments, people were like, oh, well, this person is known for posting AI generated content. So investigate the sources. You want to come back and see who's posting, look them up, better understand. And then F is find better coverage. Are there other reliable news sources that you could look at is this image, is this media authentic? Are there other, reliable or credible sources that are sharing it? Or is it just being shared by social media? And then the last one is trace it back to its roots. Who was the first to post this? So this whole kind of information literacy model that was originally created for, looking at misinformation, disinformation, and text can also be used for media and simply telling you, slow down and look closely.
And I think that first part of that, slow down, is the most crucial element, because we're all quick to, whatever it is, I love this is pissing me off, whatever, quickly forward it to, take a breath, think about it, sift, go through it, make sure it's fine, it's accurate. But it seems like it's too much work, and I'm at the point, quite frankly, where that is my mindset. It's too much work. So I don't do any of it. I don't forward things. I don't, unless I know it's from a credible news source. There's things that fire everybody up. So especially on social media, if it's a news feed, maybe that's a little bit different, but I don't forward anything. I've kind of given up.
Well, I used to do research on what makes something go viral on social media, and one of the things is emotional appeal.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's the extremes of the emotions. So if you're getting fear or anger, or if you're getting pure happiness, laughter, joy, that's when someone is really going to react faster than slowing down and thinking, why is this post making me feel this way? If you're coming across something you're like, kind of interesting, or I've seen that before, boring, those are not the posts that are being reshared. It's really the ones that's going to push your emotion. And so at this time when, images and media are kind of coming at you from all directions, telling people to slow down and stop and say, hey, why are you feeling that way to that visual that you just saw? What is it? What's kind of triggering you or making you think that everyone needs to see this right now, or you really need to comment, and then investigate? But you're right. I'm the same way. It's so exhausting to do that all the time. We're kind of in this post-truth world of it's hard to really tell what's true or not, what's real or not, or who to rely on, that you end up, like you and me, I just don't really repost, reshare, because it takes too much time to authenticate before doing so.
Quite frankly, I use social media now just to move and transmit funny stuff to friends and family. That's it. I don't wade into any of the other stuff. Hey, I find this funny. Maybe it's a link to a comedian or a funny picture. It could be AI generated, but it's not harmful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are actually up on our second commercial break. When we come back, we're going to take a test. Tori's going to put me through a test to see how well I do on identifying AI generated content. So stay with us. We're back in a minute.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry. Sitting across the desk from me today is Torrey Trust. She is a professor of learning technology at the University of Massachusetts up in Amherst. Professor of learning technology, basically, what is artificial intelligence, if I've got that right? I hit the wrong button because there's nobody in that other seat. There's Torrey right there. All right. Sorry about that, folks. But we're going to go through a little test now. Torrey sent me this link. You can find it on the New York Times, but it's a test. It's what you can do. So I'm going to pull it up now. All right. So I can put my cheaters on. Okay. So can you tell what's real? All right. So I'm going to scroll down. And is this press conference presentation real or AI? So Torrey, are there telltales that I should be looking for?
Let's guess first, and then we'll
All right.
find out.
I think it's AI.
I also think it's AI.
You're right. This was made with AI tools. It was based in the style of a TED Talk. So what are some of the telltale signs?
Well, what made you think it was AI?
It just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no background. It's a black background. Granted, with some of these speeches that you see people do, it's a stage, there's lighting. But this one just sort of seems too fake.
I'm going to be honest. In this one, I go with the gut feeling. I think that's one of the best things you can do. And this one just didn't feel human to me. It wasn't the right human movements that I generally would see from a speaker. Like, it just seems a little too stiff. The hand is moving in like very particular, almost like mechanical motion.
Interesting.
And so it just feels a little off. And that's usually my telltale sign of like this is probably not human generated.
All right, let's go down to the next one. Oh, is this model real? This one, it can't be real. I can't imagine that this is actually happening. I don't even know where that town is, but letting go of the balloons, the birds flying by, that cannot be real. So I am absolutely going AI.
That one is real.
What? Talk to me about it.
About how to identify real photos?
Yeah, this just totally seems fake.
It's a whole set that they had. It's on top of a building. They had released the balloons. But if you look at the gravity, the balloons go up. They separate. The birds are flying across. The human movements look realistic. The shadows are realistic. There's no extra fingers. There's no extra body parts. I mean, those ones are really obvious tells. But to me, if I were just to quickly look at this in a couple of seconds, I'm like, it looks natural. Even though the whole set of releasing balloons with birds flying by is throwing me off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I blew that one. All right, next one. All right, oh, this is a good one for me in this industry. Is this a real news broadcast? So I'm going to go with it's AI because being in the industry, I don't see any indicators of who the broadcaster is, which usually there's a bug in a lower corner. There's something sort of graphic, in the background that says 22 News or whomever. So I'm going AI. Come on, baby. Work with me here. Hey, all right.
So in that one, I mean, and I love that you brought your expertise into that context. You're saying, I know this area and here's what's clearly missing. What's really funny is you can also do the opposite. If you are an expert in an area, you quickly look over something and get tricked easier. I did this when I had my students design real or fake AI images guessing games, and I went through all of them, and many of them had fake images of AI generated turtles. I love turtles. I've always loved turtles. And for some reason on those, I got them all wrong because I'm like, I know what a turtle looks like.
Right.
I've loved them my whole life. And I just spent less time looking at those than all the other images that they had generated. And so sometimes it works against you that you have the expertise or you think you have the knowledge.
Wow. That's funny. All right, let's go back to our test over here. Is this social media personality real? This is a tough one because the shadows from the head on the arm look good. The shadows on the ground on the right-hand side from the hedge, or not the hedge, but the high grass. I'm going with yes on this one.
That it's real.
That it's real. So I'm going to click not AI. This was made with AI tools. It was based on a genuine YouTube video series. So how do I know?
I mean, I was with you on this one, especially when his left hand comes up and the shadow also matches on his right arm. I just don't think that's where the shadow would fall the way the sun is shining based on the other shadows. But this one also, to me, just looks a little jerky in the movements, the way a human would move. And I don't know how else to describe this other than I've looked at a lot of AI generated stuff, and the more you look at it, you start to notice these like little tells. So with the walking movements just did not feel natural of holding a camera. The camera would probably be shaking up and down a bit more if they're hand holding the camera. But they're
so
it's just these tiny
it's
little
funny.
things you're looking for.
It's funny. I'm going to go back to it. See, it looks a little herky-jerky, like somebody is actually holding the camera. But then again,
the camera isn't moving up and down. I don't know what's moving. The person's moving up and down almost, right?
Good point. Yeah. All right. Off to the next one. All right. Let's. Okay. In this nighttime video, this is hard to tell. I mean, this looks like the shadow behind the tree looks pretty good. I'm going with not AI. Hey, I got
1 out of 5.
All right, wise guy. So, but again, I got to be honest, that's sheer luck, just guessing based on limited information that I'm gathering from this video.
Yeah, there was a study that came out in late 2025 that basically said you have a 50-50 chance of guessing whether something's AI generated or not, basically a coin flip.
All right, I think we got time for one more. All right, how about this interview? Okay, so this one was weird. So I'm looking at, again, I don't really look at the foreground stuff. I'm looking at the background stuff to see if there's anything odd or strange that takes place. Like the guy walking behind just now came out the other side. I'm going with not AI on this one. What do you think?
I'm going to go with AI on this one.
Okay. Well, I'm clicking not AI. It is AI. All right. Okay. Why did you pick that?
The facial expressions just seemed a little off to me. It was kind of like I'm unsure what question they asked other than something deeply
we didn't
saddening,
have the volume on the
right?
audio.
And I would assume if you're being interviewed after a basketball game, you are hyped, excited, want to retell, and they were looking down, they were looking up. It was kind of more of a somber look on the face.
Wow.
But like again, those like how would you know to look at just the facial expression or emotions of someone? Because you're right, you look at the background, no one's disappearing. That's a great sign. Everyone seemed to be walking in like the right direction because sometimes someone will go the wrong way or a lot of people are facing one direction.
Right.
They had the little indicator that it was like the media on the microphone.
On the mic flag, yeah.
So again, it's kind of like you have to really be your own detective and look really, really closely and go with the gut feeling, although some cases it didn't quite help you with what to look for. But I'm with you. The first time I went through that, I would think I was 1 out of 10 until I started to look at more and more of this media really, really closely and say, this feels off. I had a friend tell me really, really quick story that her 9-year-old son told her that half of her playlist was AI generated songs and she didn't realize it. She was like, please tell me how to identify AI generated songs. And I've made a ton of AI generated songs just to play around so I can teach others about those and the ethics of those. And I'm like, honestly, I can tell when I hear an AI generated song because I've played around with it so much and it just has the same kind of pattern. I don't know. I don't have enough of the musical knowledge to describe what I'm noticing. But it's the more I kind of look really closely or listen really closely that I start to pick up on these patterns that this just doesn't feel right.
Very good. We are out of time, unfortunately, folks. I hope you learned a little bit because I learned a ton. But Torrey, thank you so very much for joining me. Great seeing you. Thank you.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.